Okay, 10.1, your assignment is going to be the odds. So please make sure that when you assign this assignment to everyone else, they do the odds. You need to do the odds first to show me that you know what you're doing, but if you're going to use any problems in your teaching, make sure you use the evens, not the odds, because you want to leave the odds for everyone else to do. Let's talk about it. Your big topics. Oh, and you have a total of 4 questions to do. Your big topic is called a two-way frequency table. So a two-way frequency table. Make sure you use this word, two-way frequency table. And then you're going to talk about tallies and total. Okay, so tallies and totals. And then a little bit later, you're going to be talking about multi-bar graphs. Okay, so these are the things that I need to see you teach, and the big topics you need to make sure you include in your teaching. And I'm going to go show you what these mean here. Don't be frightened by the words. They're just fancy words for things you really probably already know. But two-way frequency table, tallies and totals, and multi-bar graphs is what you should be focusing on. Okay, don't worry too much about that. Here's how you do this. In the first one, they're going to give you a set of data. So this one happens to be class and a favorite color. And all you're doing is you're making tally marks. A tally mark is just a fancy way of keeping track of things. I think most of you know what it is. So let's say that B purple. So I go find class B. I go find purple, and I put a line. And the next one says A blue. So I go find class A. I find blue, and I put a line. B green, so I'm going to go B green, and so on and so forth. And then there's another B green. So when I get to the second one, I make a second line. And eventually, I'm going to be done because I'm going to go through all of these, and I'm just going to make lines. The way tallies works is you go 1, 2, 3, 4, but if you get to 5, we cross them, so that would be 5. And then 6 starts a new set, so 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we cross it for 10. It's probably things you already know, but I just want to make sure that everyone has the same details, so that's how you make tally marks. And the next thing I'm going to do is once you have all these tally marks, I'm going to erase the ones I have so we can use theirs. Okay, now you need to change these into numbers. You have to be able to read it. This is the number 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. So make sure you can read these. 3 lines means 3, 4 lines means 4. 5 would be crossed. Okay, and you're going to just report those exact same numbers right here. So what we just did above goes right here. And if you notice, they should match exactly. If not, Carnegie made a mistake. But 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. Okay, so you're going to just rewrite these numbers right in here, and then you're going to total it. So we're going to total across, and we're going to total up and down. So we're going to go across, and I got 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So I write 9 right here in this box. Okay, and then I do class B. 4 and 1 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is 11. And then I'm going to do the same thing up and down. So 4 plus 1 is 5, 3 plus 4 is 7, 1 plus 3 is 4, 1 plus 3 is 4. And then this box is what's called a grand total. And this is used all the time in spreadsheets where you're keeping track of money. So if like you have a fundraiser or you're a treasurer of something, this is how you check yourself. And the total should go both across and up and down should be the same number. So let's add this. 9 and 11 is 20. And then across we should be able to get 20 as well. So I got 5 and 7 is 12. And 4 more is 16. And 4 more is also 20. So this is indeed that we haven't made a mistake. Because up and down, left and right match. So we have 20. This is the total number of tally marks that we should have had up here. So if you add up all of the numbers, you should also have 20. And that makes sense because when we went back up to here to the top, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times 2 is 20. There are 20 items up here. So that's a good check to make sure you haven't missed something. The number of items should be there, should match the tally marks. That should also match this total right here. Those should all be the same number. So that's half of it. That's tally marks. That's total. This is called a two-way frequency table. It's 2 ways because it goes left and right and up and down. That's your 2 ways. So this is called a two-way frequency table. They got some here to practice on. I'll leave that to you. And I want to get to the bar graphs. Okay, apparently I have to scroll down a little bit more. Wow, they're way down there. Okay, we're on page 552. Okay, so here's the bar graphs. Now, generally speaking, when you create a bar graph, you're going to go to class A, and you would go find red, and you'd go up 5. So you go 5 high, and this would be red, and then you would go to blue, and you would go up 7 high. So this would be 7 high, and this would be 5 high, and we just have fun. The problem is now that we have a two-way frequency table, we have 2 things and 4 things, and we have to get all that information on the same chart. So what they're going to do is they're going to split this in half, and they're basically going to do this twice, once for class A and once for class B. But instead of labeling them each individually, what they're going to do is they're going to simply shade them differently. So you can shade with dots. You can shade with up and down lines, side to side lines. You can shade with crisscrosses. You can be really creative. You can also grab things like colored pencils, markers, whatever you want, but you just have to make sure they look differently. Highlighters, whatever makes you and makes your students happy, they can use. Just you want the shading to be clearly different so we can tell them apart. So all they did is they said, okay, class A, 5 red. We already had it here. Class A, blue, 7. So what they did is they go down here to your table, and they decided, okay, I'm going to use this pattern for red. I'd probably just grab a red marker, but they use this pattern for red. And they said under class A, I need to go up to 5. So I made my bar right here up to 5, like we just did a second ago. And because it is red, we're going to shade it this way with a bunch of dots. They went to the next one, which says class A 7, so they went back to class A. They made a second bar graph that's a little bit taller, up to 7. And this time it was blue, so they went and they said, okay, I can't use dots anymore, so let's go up and down lines. So they shaded that up and down lines, and then so on. So class A, they went to 3, so they drew a new bar right here at 3. And they said, well, okay, well, this one's going to be, I think it was purple. Okay, so we're out of everything else, these two, so we're going to use dots again, but not as bright dots. I wouldn't do that if you were drawing it because you're going to have a hard time doing that, but they did it. And then the last one, 1, so they made a bar here at 1, and they said, okay, you know what, we're kind of like the lines again, but this time we're going to go side to side. Okay, then they did the same thing with class B. So you see class B 6, so they went class B, they went up and down, and this time it was red, so they went and found the red that they already had, and they shaded red a second time. Okay, and the nice thing about this is I can clearly see that the red is different in the 2 classes. In this case, the blue is much taller in the first class than the second class. But the reverse is true for purple. It's much smaller in the first class and much more prevalent in the second class. So that's how you make this table. If you have questions, make sure you ask. They're going to do several of these. And I think that's it, but I just want to get to the end. Yep, so that's it. If you have any questions, make sure you ask.